Welcome to a 12-minute HR lesson. Today I'm tackling something quite tricky. I'm going to try and teach you a skill, and that's almost impossible via a podcast. I'm going to teach you how to have a conversation with someone in which you both control and listen, in which you keep it clear what we're going to talk about and where we're going to end up and what the outcome's going to be. But on the other hand, you don't shut someone down entirely. How am I going to do it? I'm going to make you listen to Daft Punk. Curious? Let's go. I'm doing things differently today. Normally I will end up with the lesson, but via a circuitous metaphor or story. Today, I'm going to give you the lesson and then I'm going to get to the story at the end. Sometimes I do things differently. Sometimes that's what we need to do to get there. I need to tell you what to do and then explain why. So this is the idea. Sometimes we need to stick to message. You need the skill of sticking to message. Sticking to message is a PR technique. Once you know of it, you see it in various different places. You see politicians use it all the time. If someone is having to go on TV or on media, and it's in an adversarial situation, you will often see this technique of sticking to message. They have talking points. They have pre-scripted in their head of, this is what we are here to talk about, and any attempt to talk about something different will be ignored, will be subverted, will be redirected to what we want to talk about. And you just see the same sort of points getting repeated. The extent to which that is a good thing or a bad thing I leave up to you, because different circumstances, different contexts. But the concept of sticking to message is sometimes something we need in the workplace when we are dealing with conflict situations. And the reason why is that we get a lot of whataboutist logic. Whataboutism is a whole topic for another day, but essentially it's a flaw in rationality. It's an argument that you see people pull out a lot in which they say, well, you're talking to me about X, what about Y? Over there, I think Y is more important. I don't think I should have to, or I should be accountable for this when that over there is happening. What about this is essentially the argument. And that's something we don't want to engage in. If we are here to talk about X, we need to talk about X. If there is a problem with X, we need to fix X. We don't want to get drawn into debating or discussing something that is entirely separate. If that's not what we're here for, if so-and-so is turning up late and they say, yeah, but what about Y? They are not doing their job properly. Well, that's a whole separate discussion. That's not on the agenda. We're here to talk to you about turning up on time. So often we need to stick to message. Sticking to message is a big part of maintaining control of what is being discussed and what we are talking about, and not being subverted and not getting drawn into traps of relativism or whataboutism. So what's the problem with this? I expect you've spotted this. I expect you understand this. What is the problem with sticking to message? Sticking to message is intentionally and categorically not listening. It is hardly good faith. It is hardly good management. It is not something you can do if you're genuinely having a conversation with someone. You can always steamroller employees' behavior, but you cannot steamroller their mind. And if you just tell someone to think something, they will say yes in front of you and then stop thinking that later. So you can't communicate or persuade or get somewhere with someone if you never listen to what they have to say. Sticking to message is not appropriate in an actual dialogue, in an actual conversation, an actual meeting with staff. Sticking to message is something you can do only some of the time. So the question is, when? So now I want to talk to you about a metaphor. I want to talk to you about the 4 on the floor drumbeat. 4 on the floor is, obviously I'm not going to be able to describe it very well, but you can go and find this anywhere. A 4 on the floor drumbeat is where it's 4/4 time and every beat that bass drum is hitting. The drummer is hitting the bass drum not on the first and the third or the second and the fourth or on the fourth. They are hitting it every beat. Dum, dum, dum. The 4 on the floor drum beat is a staple of all things dance. You can hear it all throughout disco. There was barely a disco song that didn't use the 4 on the floor beat. But even dance music today through the 2000s to current, anytime you're trying to dance to a song and it's just not quite working, it doesn't have the rhythm, it's possible it's because it doesn't have a 4 on the floor beat. It's not giving you that that you can move to. What are some examples so that you can think about? All through disco. You can hear a lot of it in Daft Punk. You can hear it in Stevie Wonder. You can hear it in Pink Floyd. You can hear it in Metallica, ZZ Top. Anytime someone wants to get people moving, gets their feet tapping, the best way is 4 on the floor. And you will find that your foot is going. And if not, get it going, because it won't take too long for your foot to be feeling that beat as it goes along. So how is this a useful metaphor for sticking to message? A 4 to the floor beat. It's hard to hear unless you go and listen for it. But once you hear it, once you listen for it, you realize how controlling and how dominating and how subtly in charge of everything else it is. It is consistent, it is rhythmic, and it is absolute. Absolutely drives the song, and everything over the top of it is just decoration. Everything else is flavor. It controls and it dominates without being loud and attention-seeking and demanding. When we are controlling a conversation, that is a good metaphor. We are being consistent and we're being understated, but we are being absolute. So how do I tie these two things together? How do you tie together being controlling and clear and making sure that you have control of the narrative and the discussion and the topic and the outcomes of a meeting and not losing control, but on the other hand, engaging and listening and interacting and not completely overriding people? There's a couple of songs that I want you to think about. Unfortunately, there isn't the perfect song, because most songs that have a 4 to the floor beat use it all the way through the song. Maybe you need to go away and do your own research. Maybe you need to spend work time listening to disco, to which you can excuse as, no, this is professional development. The best I could find is a song that would stop the beat occasionally or only stop it in the bridge. Perhaps the clearest is Daft Punk's Around the World. That song is almost entirely the 4 on the floor. Then in the bridge it stops, and you can hear the absence of that beat when it stops. That is what you want to do when you are having a difficult conversation with someone. You are starting with the 4 on the floor beat, the clear, the absolute, the undominating but the rhythmic, consistent, sticking to message of, hey, look, we need to talk to you about this. We have a problem that we need to work through, and this is what I need us to talk about. Lay it all out, clear, calm, concise, 4 on the floor beat. Then you hit the bridge, then you turn it off, then you stop the 4 on the floor, and you listen, and you hear what they have to say. And you consider it. You don't just wait your turn to talk. It's the bridge. They get the bridge. You give them the bridge. But then the beat comes back. Then the 4 on the floor kicks in again. This is where you need to come back to message. You need to come back to, well, it's good that I understand you. It's good that I've heard what you've talked about. But this is what I need to happen for the future. And that is the trick. Before the bridge, you are 4-4 on what has happened and what you are concerned about. You give them the bridge. You turn off the 4 on the floor. Then, when you come back after the bridge, for the final verse, the 4 on the floor kicks back in, and you are saying, okay, for the future, this is what I need. You stick to message. This is what we need to have happen from here on in. 4 on the floor, sticking to message, keeping it clear, keeping it unambiguous from here on in. This is how things need to be around here. I hope you got that. That was a tricky one. I've got it in my head. I don't know if it landed in yours. I don't know if Daft Punk's Around the World is the way to get it there. Hopefully that stuck in your head. Hopefully it gave you something to at least think about. Otherwise, thank you for listening. We do a lot of coaching in this space. We do a lot of helping people, because telling people what to do is one thing. Coaching and supporting and developing their skills with them is a long journey, but it makes such a difference. Being good at talking really helps so many parts of your job. So have a look at our website of what we can do for you. Have a look at our website for our articles to help you think, because at the end of the day, helping you think is what we're here to do. Thank you for this. I'll catch you next time.